The emissions deal is finally done with an agreement that the agricultural sector will cut emissions by 25%. But it got us thinking this morning, Jonathan. Agriculture accounts for almost 40% of our emissions. They've agreed to cut by 25%, or at least that's their target now. But the target for other sectors, 75% for energy, 50% for transport, 45% for commercial buildings, 40% for residential buildings, and 35% for industry in general. Agriculture has got off lightly, and in fairness, the fact that they have got off lightly has put pressure on every other sector. I don't know if any of these targets are achievable, frankly, but certainly with such a large chunk of our emissions being cut by a relatively small amount, not even 30%, and we're supposed to hit 50%, I don't know how any of this is done or how the other sectors are going to cope with emissions of 50 and 75% in some cases.
The public would be forgiven for being confused, because the only conversation we've been having in the last couple of weeks is around one sector, agriculture, whereas it would appear, according to the sectoral emission ceilings for 2030, other sectors are doing an awful lot more heavy lifting when it comes to reducing carbon emissions. That said, farmers have a tough job. It is increasingly tough. We know that they were told to increase their herds. Now they're being told that was the wrong thing to do, and we have to protect the sector so that it can be there going forward. But, and it's a rather large but, they have to be seen as doing the same amount of work as everybody else. And those figures show that agriculture is getting away extremely lightly. And bear in mind, this isn't a target for 2025. It's a target for 8 years' time.
I know. And the reality of this is residential is supposed to cut by 40%. You'd want to be retrofitting every second house at the moment to get anywhere near that. And that simply isn't happening. Energy, 75%. We'd want to have wind farms all over the western seaboard and pronto, and I don't know how that's going to happen, and transport by 50%. That's going to affect all of us. All of us are going to have to do a little bit more. I think, dare I say it, because farmers are doing a little bit less. And I'm not sure how this is going to fly. And if one sector pushes back and kind of gets leeway, what's to say all the other sectors won't push back as well, Jonathan?